Hi guys, if you have experienced a business that goes out of its way to serve you good food and good feels, then you will agree with me that the experience you get as a buyer is much more important than the actual product that you're buying. Join us today as we meet a group of young people in Soweto who have a good understanding of the ultimate goal of marketing, to capture the feeling of the customer. Come along with us. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cooler Biz Lounge podcast. My name is Bongani Mzobe, your host for that platform that decodes entrepreneurship and helps you in your journey as you chase the bag. We don't know what you are chasing, we don't know what your business is, but we do know one thing: there is a formula to getting it right. And ours is to expose you to people, ideas and systems that will leap you forward into your journey of success. Today is quite a special day. We visit a business out in Soweto, in Dube, Woods and Wings, a business that chose to desist or move away from selling whatever it is that they're selling, but focus on selling an experience. Quite an interesting business that was established a year ago, and we hope to learn today from the director of the business on how he actually established the business and what he actually does on a day-to-day. My co-host is with me again today, Mr. Nick. One of those days where he's fairly quiet. I don't know if it's because he just had Dugwood from Woods and Wings. Magic 30
they must also create like a sleeping room to the cover. I know. No, but thanks, man. If you was glad to be here at Soweto now.
Yeah.
Dube. Very, very famous section as a Soweto.
It is.
Very, very famous. I think. Is Josie FM part of Dube? Or is it Profil?
Yeah,
no,
it is. It's also part of Dube. Yeah.
Oh yes. See that? I got you know. But today, man, we're talking food. We're talking food, and what's more important about this particular food is food made by the youth. Taking that stance of not being a consumer and actually being a producer of that. And it's for me, it's the first time I have food here. I think I've known about Woods and things a couple of months ago, but didn't really get the gist of coming and all that stuff. But once you start telling me that yes, we've secured them, I was great. Let's secure this one. Yeah, coming there.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, let's rate the food that you just had for the first time today.
First and foremost, before I rate that, when I got the food and I saw it's a Dugwood, remember I said I spent my whole varsity life eating Dugwood.
Yeah.
I knew as long as I had 20 rand at Dugwood, I'm fine.
You're sorted, yeah.
So already they won me by that part.
Okay.
And one of the greatest thing again is that the food is so well prepared.
Yes.
I used the tissue just for the sake of using it. Nothing was falling off the plate. And I must say, from a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'd give them about a 9.5. And that 0.5 that they didn't get is because someone hasn't arrived yet. Yeah, but then again, enough about food and me and varsity and stuff. But today, Spete Utebs, the director of Woods and Wings, right?
Yeah, sure. How's it though?
Easy. How's your Monday looking like today?
My Monday is a bit shaky. Like when you got here, I told you
the man is sick today.
I had to try and get the energy to do this thing because we've long postponed doing this. So I felt like if we further prolong it, then it won't materialize. So given the date and the opportunity, I was like, let's just jump on it and just do it.
Yeah.
So I feel good.
You feel good.
Yeah, I feel
and talking
good.
about jumping into it, 1 year already in business. You know, Chan. So I think before we celebrate this 1 year, we can just give us a background in terms of how did you guys get to this point?
It's a very complex and interesting journey. We say 1 year just like that, but looking at all the things that went to us getting to this phase where we're at now, really had to take a lot from one, mentally, physically, emotionally. There were days where you were celebrating your wins, there were days where you were taking your L's, but the big part of it is that in every day where you come in, you always have to show a smile. It's not easy having to carry so many energies coming into your space to feed off your own energy, because you need to remember you're dealing with people. So dealing with people means having to align with the energy, because some people leave the comfort of their space to come here and probably try and forget about something. So it means that you have to be the one that channels their mood for the day, with giving them the best food, with giving them the best experience. So for one, I would say it's not an easy thing to do, but like you wake up every day and be like, I'll do this. And that's what I do for a living. So us getting here has been a very amazing journey. I believe we've come full circle. Now it's just a matter of how we can scale the business upwards.
No,
and sorry, Nick. Quite interesting that you guys started the business
from outside,
from what was just a chill out every day, you guys drinking, but then you realized that you guys were spending a lot of money buying from other people, where you could be using that money, that time to invest in yourselves and make money at the same time. How many of you guys actually started this business?
So initially the business was founded by me and my cousin, which is Masitle. But before even Woods and Wings came about, we were doing like pop-ups. The only thing we used to sell hot wings and chips. So it's just started off as us selling hot wings and chips.
That's it.
Because it was an easy thing to do. You don't need rocket science ingredients. So it was just getting the wings, put the braai, and then sell them. So we founded the business together. But at the time I was still employed. I had my 9-to-5 job. So it wasn't something I was doing fully. It was just to make extra income on the side, and also just to have fun with the people that you're hanging around with, and he was still in varsity at that time. So he wanted to stop and not complete his diploma, but I was like, dude, you're a year almost done, so I think it would be best for you to just complete your diploma or and then from there.
Says a person, Nick says a person who told his mom that I'm not going to school. Me, I'm a businessman. And yet you're telling Masintle that he must complete his studies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like we come from, in as much as we are family and that, but our family structures are built differently. Her mother was adamant and persistent that she like Masitle needs to get that diploma. So I never wanted it to be a thing where so so I was like, dog, just respect your mother's wishes. Like you are there fully in. With me, I could stand my ground because I said from the onset, and I think that was informed by me like starting to read books out of the school curriculum, because the curriculum is set up in this way. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I invested most of my time reading books. Like the first book I read, Nelia DJ's book, Leadership 2020. So I was focused on understanding the movement and the food patterns of how this guy just went from being a township guy to a media mogul. So his story was interesting because it resonated with my situation at the time. But like I don't conform to the standards. I feel my life can spread out and be something great, but how do I then navigate myself from this point and move out and go and explore? Because I have things that I think about, but to think about something it's easy, but for you to bring it to reality. That's the difficult part. So I read that book, and then I think that's where my love for reading books started. Because
this is Masent.
Masito is busy in the kitchen.
Oh,
you know, chabinyana, sexy
Yeah.
chabi nigga.
Extension.
That's the extension.
Oh, the guy who came and asked about the extension.
So he's my blood cousin. So we grew together since really one young. That's why our relationship is so strong, because there's no you can separate us, because we've known.
So if you're reading DJ Sbu and Leadership 2020, so you were planting big ideas in your head from an early age.
Yeah, that was like in grade 9, because you need to remember one thing. Because I was an academic until I used to get good grades until I got to high school, and I think it's unfortunate that the education system forces you by the age of 15 to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like you haven't even done that. You are still in your infancy stage for you to take a decision of what you want to do for 60 years going forward. I found it very unfair. I was really to accounting. So when I looked at myself, there was nothing that was fitting to.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
Until I was like, okay, it's thing accounting, but the number I'm for my child the gang now. It was a challenge now. So I got introduced after reading that book. So because now the desire to now learn things that I'm not being taught opened up. So I got another book, Robert Kiyosaki, The Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that changed the whole perspective of how I saw things, because it said the total opposite of what the system acquires or wants from you. So I was like, hey, it's okay. So as I dwelled into the book, I learned so many things. Like I learned, there is a way for you to live without having to be dependent on the system, rather be interdependent on the system, which is a way of I depend on the system and the system needs to depend on me, because there has to be synergy between the two. I can't be like same so if you are my friend, I need to get help from you in as much as you need to get help from me. It was a thing of then how do I position myself in this ecosystem and still be able to live and still be able to do what I love doing every day of my life.
And I picked up that you want a Lamborghini at some stage in your life. whether to just drive it. But if you just drive it, I have a friend who has one. Maybe a week nyana. We can borrow you for a week. I'm throwing in the weed there.
But yeah, that thing came about like I wouldn't say I come from a family where we were lacking, and I wouldn't say again I come from a family where we are very well off. We were just average. So with that, I have a cousin brother who is in the affluent league. So every time we had family gatherings, he would call his friends, and all his friends would come with his super flying cars and be like, okay, but and like a taki, and these things you only associate them with a certain race and a certain class. How do these people acquire these things? So I got to have the interaction with them close and first hand. So that created the desire for Nahore. If I can see Hotman Avaka Lamborghini, and when we're chilling here, we're just having random conversations. I want to Wanka, to the supernatural, or are not of this world. So I was like, okay, Lena, one day when I look at all the cars that are there in the market, I think a Lamborghini would best fit my personality.
You speak it to the universe and it's there.
Yeah.
You'll move towards it.
Yeah.
In either shape or form, you'll get to it. You navigate towards it. But I must say, what? It's very interesting at the fact that you guys decided to go to you realize that you're spending patterns.
Yes.
Right? And then after seeing your spending patterns, then you say, some of the things that we're spending on, we could actually be producing
and monetizing
in that particular situation.
Yes,
so you're saying that you started the business new too, with your cousins and stuff. And then what prompted the additions to the team?
Obviously, like Mokasi, if you check, every day is your every day. You can't differentiate between weekend and during the week. Because
especially now.
Especially now, because but Bamokasi. So I had a friend who lived opposite my house, which is Ujunya, and he was doing events and I was doing events. So it was a thing of, dog, we chill together, and you have your own crowd. You have your own crowd. If you can pull that together instead of being competitors, but let's just come together and try build one thing that resonates with the both of us. So that's how the additional member came in. So Junior had a cousin which is Unjabul. So Unjabul later on, because Lena because there's no way you can sit with doers and not be a doer. Eventually it will feed off you. So it was a thing of our fate. I like what you guys are doing, so I would also want to be a part of this. So that's how the thing came about. And again, it's the universe conspiring behind your back, because it puts people in place. Because it doesn't mean at that time I didn't have friends. I had friends, but I had to lose those friends to make space for the new guys who were supposed to be a part of that journey.
And a lot of people can learn from you guys. I mean, we say this a lot, to say that you cannot be out drinking with your friends, 5 friends every weekend, and none of them you're doing business with.
Exactly.
Do you understand? None of them are talking opportunities. The only thing that you're doing is settling bills. It's something else. Although we're not saying don't drink. Trust you, meet, have fun, you know. But just try and see with every interaction, am I giving,
benefiting exactly.
or am I receiving? You know, that is, and for you guys to learn it at such an early age, it's a great recipe for success. And there's a lot of guys that are younger than you that are looking there and are saying, okay, this is possible. You know, because when we grew up, we never saw our households as a potential business spot.
Exactly.
When we grew up, we saw a jardin is lalipola, masuga lapo, mausoyosebenza gibel tax with you know. But you guys are sitting and you change this whole setup and just said this is a well-positioned place for business establishment. You understand? And if a lot of people start identifying to say what things are around me that I can change and monetize on, and you guys have done that. You know, you guys have done that. I mean, it's quite ridiculous.
Jana, I was shocked when he told me earlier that Gule Charity, there's a legacy
of entrepreneurs
of 5 generations. You know, who started. He says this shack, Abai converted to a kitchen now for Woods and Wings, has served 4 different businesses. Generations. You know, and that must speak to why the business bug bit him so early in his life. And obviously the universe brought, you know, like-minded friends along his path, so that when these things start blossoming, they are in those things together.
Those places,
but it's such an interesting. Maybe take a minute, Debza. I want you to honor your great grand, you know, parents. You know, people who started, who laid the foundation for this legacy. What businesses do you come from in this family, and what were you guys busy with?
Okay, because I came when I was born there. Make a ploma komfolo.
Okay.
And then I was living with my great parents there. And then my grandmother got married into this home.
Okay.
So that's how I moved from Komfolo to Imoto. So when my grandmother came in, but she found the place as a business place. Okay. So when Madala passed on, she had to now take the ropes and carry on with that, because my grandmother was a standard dropout. So she had no other trade or skill to survive.
She had to survive
off this business. But I think she's the one that I inculcated this business thing from, because she suffered with cancer for almost like 15 years, but that was never an excuse for her.
She worked.
She worked because I understand one thing: when you make an excuse, you make an excuse to an extent that you end up believing in that excuse, and you live off that excuse, and you make it your reality. I couldn't do 1, 2, 3 because of I maybe only building air.
And then poverty shows you flames.
And then poverty shows you flames. So before she even passed on, her last words to me was that if you didn't take anything from what I was doing, then you're gonna suffer for the rest of your life. So I'm speaking of a woman who had like 15 businesses, running them all by herself. My granny used to travel from here and go to China to go buy clothes and come sell clothes. She used to go to Eastern Cape and body slippers. She used to go to KZN and body umbrella. She used to sell chickens. She was a mashonesa. She was selling alcohol. So she was doing all those things all by herself.
China, is there anything you guys have not sold?
I believe I
hasn't been sold this illegal.
But tell me, Debza, if you know your grandmother were to stand here in front of us right now, you know, having achieved what you guys have achieved, with the success that you guys have enjoyed, and success from the word go, you guys established, and you just
went on moving.
You know, you were wild from the word go. It is as if there is a blessing that, you know, carried you from inception right to where you are. What would you want to say to your grandmother if you were to look at her and she says,
I would like, first and foremost, I would like to thank her for all the teachings like that she bestowed upon me, because I had to learn humility from her. I had to learn being humble from her. I had to learn the spirit of giving from her, because my grandmother would cook a nice Sunday dish, but as soon as somebody walks in, she'd be like, and then she'd be like, but I didn't understand how. Why? No, because this was set up for us. Now we have to give it to the next person.
You watched it from the point I prepared.
Planning but and we need to cater for them. When God stretches your hand, you need to make sure you stretch it even further. So those are the teachings that I inculcated from her, and I live off those teachings, even though she was not educated traditionally and verified by universities, but she had wisdom in abundance, which I still live off by. So if I were to see her, even for the protection, because I know where she's at, she can see what's going on. So many things could have happened. So many things happened, which I got myself into this situation. How am I going to pull myself out? But then at the end of the day, so you see there's power and force working for you, in as much as Luena, you're pulling in your energy. But this
Mara Debza, I'm sure in hindsight, you know, when you think about the time and you were like just before start, you know, I'm sure that is a time you will never forget in your life.
Yeah, I will never forget it.
But I'm more interested in the people who stood as your support base. Outside this friends, remember that when you establish a business, it's you know, it's just that concept like discuss and stuff. But there is a time where guys something you know, and sometimes but or not this, you know. Who are those people that stood as a support base that you will never forget as you started this business?
So I'll take it like back a bit now.
Sure.
How I even got myself living here now, because before I lived here, I used to live Koval.
Okay.
I used to live with my old lady there. So from there, I started businesses. I started business out by the chipsy, this bete, but because Kada, it's a place where a lot of people are not working, so there's no buying power. So I saw the potential of the business, but it couldn't grow to the level of which I wanted it, because buying power, even the culture, because
It's a bit different from
it's
here.
a bit different
Yeah,
from
yeah,
there,
yeah.
from here.
From
So
here,
it was
yeah.
a thing of, okay, me, and I've done this, and the reception I got there was amazing, because the support structure was getting it from the Oleidlak at that time.
Okay.
So I had to make a decision. Okay, I see there's potential with what I'm doing here. So how about I take this thing and move with it? Because I know Kokasi definitely it will pop, because Kokasi
Soweto.
like general.
Yeah,
So at that
yeah.
time I was unemployed. So obvious depression, a little shy, you're thinking a lot. Like when I'm demotivated. So it was a thing of, okay, I need to find a job. So I made sure I got a job, retail, and then from that job I had to work for like 2 years trying to save up money. But honestly speaking, I didn't save any cent, because I was not earning anything. I had to live off 5,000 rand.
Yeah.
So you're earning 5,000 rand. From that 5,000 rand, you need to catch taxi, whatnot. Ne?
Yeah.
So the best thing I did, I bought flat top. Kareka flat top. Okay, with the small machine, because I've done food before, I'll operate with the small machine. So the biggest support system, I would say, Orilaka couldn't give me monetary support, but she gave me her word, even her prayers. I feel sometimes it's on a long span, because when we pray internally, but our parents make sure so in terms of support and structure, I think our parents were there. Even Oledla Masetle, she bought us the frying pan, the chips. It's like, this is a gift from me to you guys, because I see you guys have a potential of doing 1, 2, 3. Kisses tofu, Spanising, and do what you need to do. And then we had to sacrifice and sell PlayStation 4, because it was a chat of Ntwana. Now we've started a business, so we won't have time to play
this
FIFA.
thing.
So why not trade this thing and get equipment so that we can move on and run with the business? So support structure wasn't really that much, but it about few thing for Rona till this day.
Interesting, man. You are just dropping bars and bars and
Me, I'm
bars.
just quiet.
And I've never
This is the person that said that he didn't want to further his studies at varsity or anything else like that. But the wealth of knowledge that he has, and indirectly you see that he lives his words, right? Because it just comes naturally. And I like the fact that in everything that you do, it encompasses what you've been taught and from at home and what you see in the streets, and you try to create a space where your energies are very clean, so that it takes you where you guys need to be. And I mean, if your energy is clean, and I mean, I've seen it, the food is also clean, so everything else will continuously be clean. So it makes a world of a difference, man. So from where we sit, yes, you're mentioning Guti Usugile Val, Wazangapa, and all sorts. Because I mean, Soweto is also, as much as it has a lot of opportunities, it's also a bit harsh.
Exactly.
Right? Because it can reject you.
Exactly.
Just saying, one slip up, it can reject you. You know, and once you're in it, as Soweto, you're in it. You know, so how did you find that challenge to say, okay, because I hear you said that you was a junior, his own clique, and then you've got your own clique, and did it work out as like you guys planned? Because sometimes in business, your friends, when you start the business, sometimes your friends are the ones that are not going to be your customers.
Exactly.
As you expect them to.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Yeah. So how did you deal with those kind of challenges in terms of your expectation versus reality now?
I think like it somehow did work for us, because we were all situated in different spaces. Like Masetle, I used to call him the North God, because he was more focused on the lifestyle Jozi, and when we were the street cats, so that's why there's even a diverse crowd of people that come here. You might come here and find your influencer who probably Masetle knows via his times during the movements they were pushing back in Bramfontein. Then now there's a crowd that comes with me via Mncube, because I always tell my mother, you always shouted me for going out. But
Namhlanje.
now you see me going out. I was actually selling something, even though I didn't have it physically, but I was engaging with a lot of people.
Look
And
at
you
the
see,
returns now.
those people are here right now to come and support, because it was me learning the culture, understanding
Chana
what.
Mncube is late night business networking.
Exactly.
It's networking.
And then now it's turned into daytime, because if you look at
Day jobs
the groove calendar, it's from Monday to Monday.
Yeah.
There's no in between, right? More restiwa, more wetwang. So
Anytime, actually.
I think that like really worked for us. We really did manage to bring
Yes.
different worlds into one space, and their family became my family.
Yes,
and
you integrated everything.
So the exchange of ideas also worked to our advantage, because we had different backgrounds, so we could reference from different things. So technologically there's something like this that we can implement into the business. Then it's all based on interaction and engaging with other people.
Yeah, no, it makes it makes a lot of sense in terms of collaboration.
Exactly.
You guys collaborated well, and you can see it. You can see it happening. And now, for me, what I'm also interested in is finding out from you in terms of, yes, you went from reading in terms of your local entrepreneur DJ Spoo. Now you went to Kawasaki, right? And those are two different people, right?
True.
And in that process, you ended up defining yourself.
Exactly.
Right? So I want to know is that, what is your understanding of yourself as a business person now? Or there's a Kimotwa business. What rules you? What grooms you? What pushes you to say, na Kimotwa business, these are my do's, these are my don'ts. This is what I live by. This is my mantra.
Okay. I think one thing, like people always say, business is not for me. But my understanding is that business is for everyone. Whether you studied law, whether you studied accounting, you could study law and open a law firm. You study accounting, you open an accounting firm. So every day of your life, you are basically living business. Even if you can be employed in a structure, you can also grow and be an entrepreneur within that very same structure. I think the biggest problem or misconception is that people think being a businessman is all about you having to plow your money and having to work long hours. And I think the teaching that we got about what business is in this position where we at. Because if you look at it, the statistics show 1 out of 8 businesses exist within our society, and that should raise awareness. So why is it such a thing when the unemployment is sitting?
It's very sky high.
It's very sky high. So I think for me it was a matter of I didn't choose it, but it chose me. But at the same time, I also chose it because I saw it as an escape out of poverty. Okay, if I can go into business, I can establish myself. I can be able to own assets. I can be able to change lives of other people. So it was not only just about me, myself, and I.
Don't
it
leave
was
the Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly that. So, okay, if I'm gonna work 9 to 5, there's
be
no
able
way I'll drive a Lamborghini.
When I read out delay,
Don't delay. Because the way the structure is set up, they force you to go to university for 4 years. You do your 4 years. After your 4 years, then they force you to do learnership, and you're doing your learnership kamo kolota nesfasi nyoro, and then kamo kolota nesfasi nyoro. By the time you're about to get your job, now so now 28, 29, and now life forces you now to buy a car, to buy maybe a house. Maybe I'll say pregnant. So it's basically you trapping you into the red race. So I didn't want to live off that because I witnessed it. I served the company for 25 years. But when COVID came, like she was chased out like somebody who never had any impact into the business. So looking at all of those things, I said, I don't want to be like that. So it became a thing of and fight for my things and own my things. If I fail, self voluntarily. So that's the one thing that keeps me going all the time. I want economic freedom, and economic freedom doesn't just come that easy.
Yes, you need to be radical.
Yeah,
Pay
you need
for
to be
it.
radical.
Jana, we are here today because you guys are a food joint, but you don't sell food. You know, why we developed an interest to do this podcast interview with you guys is because we got an experience from this place before we got the food. You know, obviously we enjoyed the food, but you came across as people who have a good understanding of the ultimate goal of marketing, which is to affect how customers feel. I don't know, you know, whether this was a calculated move when you started, or is it something that just happened around you? You did say there are a lot of prayers around you, there are a lot of, you know, energies from above around you. So how did this business develop into a business that sells food, but has become such a beautiful experience for your customers?
I think first and foremost, we treated this place as a homely place. A place where you come in, you need to feel like, so like Nick, we're referencing to the story of Gogo, she would cook a meal and then later on give it to visitors. That's the kind of feel we wanted people to feel. Don't feel like or you are foreign to this, you are an outsider. We engage with people like so busy. I'll probably be chilling with them, maybe understanding what they do for a living, where they come from. That's where you even get the information of what people want out of your business. What can you improve? Not necessarily you saying you'll give them the lead to direct your vision, because at the end of the day you have the vision, but it's a matter of encompassing what you get from them, because feedback is very important. I take any form of feedback, whether it's good feedback, whether it's bad feedback, and then we sit down and look at those things. Okay, how can we improve what we have? And I think the one thing that made our customers so close to us is because when we started off with very little to survive on, and in that 1 year we managed to do so many changes. So many things, so with them it gave them trust. Okay, this brand really
they're not just popping up.
They're serious about business.
They are serious about business. Now we get here, we have a place where we can take our pictures. This art wall probably is the most famous art wall on Instagram. Again, it's your personality showing up into the business, because your business is driven by your personality. So as soon as you walk in, you can easily tell because you can see there's a win, and I cycle there. So you get to understand the person without actually interacting or engaging mouth to mouth. So more than anything, I think being humble and respecting people without looking at their credentials or what form of background. They are all the same. They know how to even position themselves. They can see when they need to leave. But we make sure everyone feels home. Because now it's part of
you need to accommodate them.
You need to accommodate them, because the way
and you guys put a personality into the business.
No, definitely.
You don't just make it the mats that you're running away from. But I must say the artwork is
shout out to Senza. Senza is a very good guy, very artistic. And one thing about this thing there, when I was still dreaming about this thing, these were the colors that were always flashing in my mind. So I was like, the first person we need to get Kim to or Kim Kabo, because we go when you go for initiation, they give you certain things that symbolizes, I don't know, whatever. So this represents us. Ke mahlo, ke leihlo la setjhaba.
Mchana,
Le re shebile.
I'm told this thing was done at night.
Yeah.
In about an hour.
Yeah.
This guy was even drunk.
Yeah, he was drinking while working.
He was just drinking while working. But this tells you the amount of talent that we there. Mchana, this thing is world class.
He attracts what he aspires to.
This thing is world class.
And remember, he told us that he was covering something here. What were you covering?
Gosh.
I really will not there. We shall pass.
We'll get there. We will get there. We will get there.
Malume, you guys also took a decision to position yourself more Mncube street. One of the busiest and most used streets in this part of Soweto.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of people back out Mncube Drive.
Yeah.
But what is it about this street and this location?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that even if Nesimoyenu, I'm sure you would still consider this location as a good location.
Right.
So what is it about this location that makes it a good element to mix in that complete experience that you offer to your customers?
I think one thing there about Mncube Drive, it has a very rich history.
Okay.
If you look at it down the road, Richard Maponya used to live Kotlas, and then 2 houses next door, Richard Maponya, Felicia Mabuza used to live there. And growing up, this was a neighborhood for all the affluent people Kanako at that time, your teachers, your lawyers, your doctors. So I think geographically, you'd say this is the CBD because there's nothing you wouldn't get Dube. If you go shop, go Dimukwa, there's ShopRite, there's SARS, there's all these banks, there's Josie FM, So I think what makes it work out is the geographical positioning of it. Because as I was telling Khotman earlier on, if you would stand on top of the house and you look at the aerial view, Soweto kaofela e felletse from all angles. So I think even the culture ya mo Dube le bo matala wa teng wa utlwile ne ba qoqa ditori ke bo matala ba ne ba le active they were very educated, so it's a place where ideas come from. The culture is unique.
Look, it's definitely a place of legends. Very iconic, with a rich history. I mean, great entrepreneurs, great businesses have come out of Dube as a township. You're speaking about Dade Richard Maponya, who established the building that ShopRite is operating from. I'm not sure Kadi ShopRite is still him as well.
I don't know about it.
But you guys stand on the shoulders of such legends. Not only in Dade Maponya, I mean, you've got Wandi.
Wandi's large,
there's Mchana, you've been to Wandi's before.
I've been to Wandi's,
you remember that wall where he's got different business cards and names of people all over the world, how valuable is that, Mchana? How many people have that in their own home? In fact, I think that wall is more valuable than that entire property. If you sell that wall alone. So Dube has definitely been one of those townships in Soweto that have carried a lot of greatness in it. And I'm excited to see that you guys realize that you stand on the shoulders of great men and women. I had actually forgotten Mom Felicia. And I knew she stayed down the road from here. I forgot completely about her. But it just goes to show, the type of place that you guys are operating from. And I know that it guarantees you success because the community of Dube, this is not the first time they get to interact with a local brand. They get to support a local brand and lift it up. Because ultimately, Mchana, whether you like it or not, you are going to be lifted by the people. And that is why you guys make such a great investment back into your business, so that you can create an experience for the same community. But I want to find out from you, you know, of the people that are, you know, legendary out of Dube, who inspires you the most?
And that one is a bit tricky one, because like I've never really identified one person and said, this is my role model. What I used to do, I would pick up certain traits that you have, and then take from this one, take from that one, take from that one, only the positive, and then use it for myself. So there's no specific individual I would point out and say this is the one person that inspired me, but I was inspired by so many great minds.
You guys are also on the same street, Josie FM.
Exactly.
I'm Chana. What more can you ask for?
What wrong can happen?
These guys can just go up the road, walk there, take their food there, and just say, guys, taste our food. If you like it, tell the people.
Yeah, because we had an interview about 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, we went there, did our thing, and you guys operate very from Dube, because a lot of people get shocked like Dube, because clientele buyer doesn't come from Dube. It's always people that come from outside and come Dube and experience this thing. I think that's why it makes more sense to them, because it feels like an outing.
Chana, you guys are in business for a year. You established in August last year, right? And you've accumulated a following of about 20,000 across all social media platforms. Chana, why are you guys not on TikTok? Is the TikTok user not your person? What's happening, Chana?
And I know I've seen with TikTok the numbers are growing like growing rapidly with TikTok. But the issue for me, for one, I haven't had like a proper working phone. So amongst all of us, because of our working conditions that side, so to have a phone and keep a phone, and again, it's a thing of time, because now you have to manage everything. In as much as we have a team, but there's so much work that comes in to the business to make sure it functions on a daily basis. So by the time you knock off the one thing you're thinking about so I think such things need to be like someone who would pay attention and focus on it. Don't just do it because of the hype of other people doing it, because for it to stand out, it needs to sell something that's not there. But you've had platforms such as Explore Soweto who have posted on our behalf, and we've seen the numbers that they got out of posting
those things.
Because I know with the previous one they did, it was sitting on 48,000 views on TikTok. So it's a thing of but when we go into it, we want to create something that's properly curated and has meaning to the consumer. So definitely you are going to jump onto TikTok.
No, I got worried, Mchana. Young people, that's also a marketplace. Young people are buying there.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of business that's happening on TikTok.
Because like now, since we've been in business for 1 year, I think again now it's time now to have people who will run the shop, and then us can be able to then go out and exercise in other avenues, because now we've imparted the skill to the next person, because the most difficult thing to get in business is to find the right people work with. I think the most mistake that most business people say they've made from their early beginning of the business was employing the wrong people. And I would also say with me, it was the same experience. Now, how do you make someone fall in love with something that only makes sense to you? So it's a thing of you being patient with the person until they finally figure out, okay, this is my position in this business and this is how I can function. So now the next move is to having people who will operate the business, and then we go out and look for other opportunities because nyuki ko di sponsoring magwa dutse le chelete ra ko dim so tlamele re lo e lata so we won't get it ntse re dutse ka
That's true.
Magwa vele vele dutse le chelete. But then still guys, before we work magwa lona magwa rona, don't forget guys, to comment, share, like, and most importantly subscribe to our channel, and do follow us on our social media platforms with the same handle at Cooler Biz. So Debza, now when we look at your earlier on, I was asking you about another similar business, and then I said, what is your differentiation factor?
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure that you know it. When you look at Wena Namachans from onset, mentally Dalamatize.
Yeah,
Right?
it was all gamble.
It was all gamble because I mean, Liplomile, Roke Rasa, Ritzareka, why Runarsarikis.
Yeah.
The catch hands in an hour to battle Rekakulo.
Yeah.
Barek. Right? Like it's a pop up. How is that pop up? You can't expect to. That's why sometimes when you're doing events, you can do an event on Saturday, be great.
Yeah.
But if you have to do it the following day, you won't have the same effect.
Yeah,
do you understand? So that fear, Horoke, what's are we actually going to be able to sustain the business 24/7 or 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Right? That is one thing that you guys have to take a really calculated decision on, because if you were selling like Bongani says the vibe, was it a predetermined time for that vibe? A Sunday vibe?
Yeah.
Or a 7-day vibe? So if one is to sit and say to you, okay, what makes your eatery different
From other places. Yeah.
What would it make? Because the first things when I heard the name Woods and Wings, I started to think about, there's a place in the East End. I think it's one of the prominent places that started this wings movement.
Yeah.
They call it Moahi Wings.
Yeah, I've heard of
spread
Moahi
view.
Wings, yeah.
Yes. So there they used to just sell wings and then just chips. That's it, right? And then it become a bash and everything else. So I'm like, okay, fine. Now it's in Soweto. So I'm like thinking, but now there's a lot of eatery.
Yeah.
What is it that's different about you that can make an Eastern person move
From East End and come
come
side?
here?
I think that's a good question and a bit tricky question. For one, I'll say, when you run a business like this, the whole idea for us was to keep this place to be a restaurant. Initially, the whole idea is to keep this place as a restaurant and then have the events side of it on the side, which is not linked to the food part.
Oh, okay.
And so on. But now it becomes difficult to manage that because when people come in here, they dictate where they want to take the field to. You have no control whatsoever to how you can like turn around the situation. And so on. But bakakena ba tshwere pipe ba le happy ba decide okay I'll shy ingoma sifuna ukujava, and then it's all about, for now I think it's all about catering to the needs of the people that come into the space. If people want to come here and chill and have a relaxed vibe, that's what you'll get. But for now it becomes difficult to do that because it's an open gate. Anyone can walk in and do whatever they want to do. But the whole idea is to have Woods and Wings as a restaurant. Like it should be one which you find in your malls, one which you find in your maybe next to the garage or something, but also have the events part of it, because we've done and hosted very successful events.
So now basically you'd like to have the eatery being it itself, but you still want to have that same thing, that same talent that you guys had of pop-up.
Yes.
But you still want to have it under the same wing as
under
Wings,
the same banner.
because obviously you guys excelled in it. You made your name out of it.
Exactly.
Because I could tell on the socials when you guys did your party. It was hectic in chat.
Jana, they get it right. Don't make a mistake. They get it right.
These guys had about 800 people outside here.
Yeah.
Jana, when they did that event, it was my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
He invited me, but I couldn't come.
Oh yeah.
But I passed somewhere close by. I passed and saw what was happening here. Now they get it right.
Yeah, no.
They get it right, and it's so encouraging to see young people, winning so much at an early stage of your life. I also see a lot of entrepreneurs using such platforms to talk more about, I succeeded here, I won here, I did well here. But none of them use this platform to tell us, where was my mistake? Exactly. Openly, honestly, and say, had I not done 1, 2, 3, maybe I would have, been further than where I am today. Are there any mistakes which you consider noticeable in the first year that you sit and think, Labakare, never again will I do that?
I think the most important one is the relationship with man.
Yeah.
What did money do to you?
The relationship with money, because when you start off like this, the way we started on a very high note, and that kept on till. So it was a thing of, if you get 8,000, I know definitely tomorrow I'll wake up and make 10,000 and make 10,000, and then I can wake up tomorrow and make 15,000. It's a continuous thing. And on the other side now, there's so much hype, there's so much people around you, and you are trying to be part of
the clique.
So I think the biggest mistake was our relationship with money, because we used to say, I cannot wear the bad decision, but I appreciate that it happened so early in the business before you go a buyer again into the business, because it taught us if unsa clipper, you are not guaranteed to kausane and in as much as you make money, you may encounter problems tailoring they need a lot of money for you to sustain. So the biggest lesson I learned was the relationship with money, and I don't regret any of the things I did. I had to do them, and I had fun, and I enjoyed them. It shaped me, and it groomed me to be where I am. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We don't do, because I think with anyone else, we grew up not having money. So once you have a little extra 10 rand, literally say you share different. Now you start associating with like some people come with the intentions of maybe trying to milk off what you have, and some have pure intentions of just being with you. So the difficult thing was to separate who's who in the picture. So we ended up having to close the circle and keep to ourselves. That's where we started seeing red flags or red dogs. If you can cancel 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I no longer go out for groove. The only time I go out for groove is only if we are the people hosting at that certain venue, but at first it was a thing of so the biggest lesson it was the money part. And again, I'd speak of maybe communication, or sometimes we communicate but we're not communicating key things. We can have a conversation go on for 24 hours talking about absolutely nothing. So I think what we missed was context out of our conversations. So we'd have conversations, but they would be misdirected because there is no context. So we had to learn when we're working in business together, you shouldn't be afraid to come and tell me, right, dog, I made a mistake here. Then I shouldn't be afraid to come and tell you, right, dog, I flopped here. And then we come together and we sit and see how we can better manage the situation. So those are some of the lessons that I've learned from the business, and I know there's still many other issues. But one thing I appreciate is that in all those mistakes, we managed to fix them and we managed to see growth. So mistakes came with fixing, which is the biggest part of the business, which was to fix things for a better
And are you guys currently part of any mentorship program?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. When we talk about support structure, there's no visible support structure, whether from family or from everything we do it by ourselves. So we are basically learning as we go. I was telling Khotman, I was surprised in so much that we have done. Our first visit had to come from the municipal office asking us about our trading license. How? Well, certainly maybe someone from a government official that say, we saw potential with the business. What are you guys lacking?
How can we
help? Instead, so you start seeing, okay, we are doing things, but are they really getting? Are they being received out there? Because the only form of maybe
they bring barriers rather than
opportunities. Because the only people that come here and try to finance us are people with their own money. 1, 2, 3, of which we always say, we've got this. But I think sometimes you need to open up and bring other people. But again, somebody that brings money needs to bring something else besides money, because we do all the hard work. So it doesn't make sense for me to take your 10 rand and then when you just sit at your home and you watch your TV. It's hot.
For 10 rand a
For 10 rand a house. And then
all the people walking out of there soaking wet. It's hot in there.
It's hot, Kada. So for you to take something from somebody else and then and want to now directing the whole operation, because maybe paloni is cheaper. So now Mto is changing what we created. So when it comes to support, support is non-existent. I don't know if maybe we don't have the information or the right people that we can go to, but from my experience,
what support do you guys need now? You know your business, you know what you guys need. What
exactly, but like so in our path, there's no such thing we can go to Abuti Mang or everything else we have to figure out ourselves. That's why maybe we hit certain humps, but we always find ourselves going.
I can understand why you guys don't really. You run a business that demands you to be there.
Exactly.
So you don't have the privilege or the space where you can sit and go through, like you were saying when you talk about TikTok and stuff. You don't have time to sit on the phone. So I mean, I think at the point where you guys feel that you are now able to hand over certain responsibilities to others, you guys can be able to look at guys that have been there before you.
Exactly.
You understand, to be able to tell you, okay, I've run a restaurant for such a long period of time. This is what really matters. You understand? These are the particular expenses that are there that you need to run away from. Because at the end of the day, remember, right now, how to fit the internet saving that are younger than you. If they're gonna come to you and say, I want to learn something from you, they're only going to learn your anger. You're right? Yes, so determination is there, but you're only going to learn your anger of saying that nobody's willing to help
you.
Right? But when they come to Tebza is still fuming with this anger that the guys above him are not willing to help. And then now, if we don't assist people like Tebza, that frustration moves down to people who inspire to be like Tebza. And Tebza will not necessarily tell them everything. He will also tell them their frustration.
True.
Because if we sit here and we're saying to you, you're running a great establishment, just up the road there's SARS. They should be here telling you how to actually do your taxes and stuff.
Exactly.
Do you understand? You're running a business. There's Josie FM here on top. They're selling advertising space. They should be coming in here and sending out proposal and saying, you're a young small business. We are willing to give you advertising at a discounted rate. Do you understand? To grow your business. Right? You've got a ward councillor in this area that is supposed to be coming in and saying, you know what, you're doing a lot of tourism investment within the street alone, right? How can we help you? Do you understand this kind of things? So yes, I understand that other people have other priorities, but I think you also have a part to play, right? As limited as it is, your resources, I think you also need to invest in trying to find out which doors are not
Opening too.
and who else can be able to help you get there. Because at the end of the day, Chief, you have to make a decision whether you're going to become an entrepreneur or a self-employed person. Because a self-employed person is forever at the business.
At the business, yeah.
And I think that you guys, listening to you and how you guys collaborated, you guys want to build bigger things. You guys want to probably franchise this whole thing out.
True.
But you can't be franchising it while you're franchising
the pen.
the pen, right? So those things are there. So I think the vested interest in those particular spaces are there. So Bongani asked the question to say, what do you guys need? And I think to come back to that particular question, my paraphrasing the question would be, what is your limitations? Right?
In terms of the business.
In terms of the business. Because I can see that, okay, you were mentioning the issue of you don't have a particular a market.
Yeah.
And sometimes your eatery is very broad that somebody can come in to eat at 11 then decide to stay at that table until 5 o'clock.
True.
Meaning that somebody else walks in and thinks, you guys are packed.
Yeah.
It's not packed. Those people act 8 long time ago. Do you understand? So, but with your limitations, what limitation that you feel that if they are addressed right now, you would be able to do everything else that you want to do?
I think, like, to correct the one that of saying, okay, we don't have a target we do have a target market,
preferred
target market in mind, but now the space is not allowing for us to cater for that specific target market. So it's a matter of, as we grow, certain things will have to be cut out. Because if you look at how Moja Cafe came about, it started off as a container where people would hang out. It was a chiller.
Next opposite
and then next thing, your average Joe, I think it happens with every business situated. So, in as much as we want to grow, but we want to grow to that level and beyond. Because this space is too small to accommodate, especially with the event side of the business. It's going to get to a point where the space won't be enough for us to cater for the people that want to come to our events. If we did 800 plus with the previous one, so you can imagine how much more it's going to get with the next date that comes out. Which was a success. So the next date that comes out, it will be reaching close to 1 point something, 1.3. So it meaning it's going to force us to now have to move out of this space. Again, it becomes a challenge. How do you now identify possible spots where you can actually create the magic the same way it was felt where it came? Because that's one thing people don't understand. Somebody comes to you and say, I'm fine, as talent to see Lens. As talent to see Free State. They looking at the good part of the business, the exciting part of the business, but they don't see for you to take this and duplicate it somewhere else is not as easy as you.
The McDonald's effect won't work because every McDonald's needs to taste the same.
Exactly.
But now, if you're leaving the original formula, you don't know what you're gonna face.
Exactly.
Even though la wadlala madaisi mara sometimes
So our headspace was okay. Maybe we'll have to open 4 or 5 of our own before we can start thinking of franchising this thing to the next person. It has to be us opening Woods, maybe Koproti or Woods, because again, like I said, we don't want Woods and Wings to just be about food, because if you look at Mokas, there are a lot of train shops that are abandoned.
True.
And what's happening to those spaces? They become spaces where people and you look at those things and you see, oh, this is investment. This is something that if somebody comes to Woods, they want to eat, they want to get their haircut, they want to get maybe small groceries for them when they get back home. So when I look at it, I look at multiple stores operating next to each other. There has to be a barber shop, a hookah shop, a clothing shop, a grocery shop. Until
You guys are definitely running a business that, creates doors of so many avenues
Exactly.
that can plug into
Exactly.
what you guys are currently
Exactly.
doing. I totally agree with you, but I think all of that is built from collaboration. What type of collaborations, just before we close, what type of collaborations are you guys doing, in the township with other small businesses? Are you simply existing as that Woods and Wings that pulls influencers of social media, or are you helping up other people? Are you,
I think again the door is always open for people to come in, but I don't know why. But babang basozwakale, because we can go out and identify other potential businesses that can be in sync with what we believe in and what we stand for. So we've tried, especially when it comes to the merchandise. Until people have always wanted to have the Woods merchandise, but it's too much admin for me to now focus on ordering skippers, and
it's a whole entire business.
It's a whole entire business on itself. So the mentality of people should be, when I look at Tebza and I see what Tebza is doing and his team, Tebza uses packaging every day of his life. Tebza uses sauces every day of his life. Tebza uses spices every day of his life. As an average Joe sitting at home complaining about things not giving in, you need to look at me and see an opportunity. How can I bridge the gap of Tebza now having to stop going to Devland to stock packaging and getting packaging from someone that
Close
lives
by,
next door. So I think the problem with us, we want to run Instagrammy worthy businesses. I want to be in the forefront. Everybody must see I'm the one championing this thing, and I think that's where we lose, and that's where we miss the opportunity of creating a value chain system for ourselves, because we always want to be at the forefront of things instead of having people that can create an ecosystem amongst ourselves, where I know ke lata spice ko hotman, ke lata sauce ko hotman, ke lata packaging ko hotman, mang o nketsetsa dikipa. That thing when
money circulates
around all of us until. So I think problem is when people come, they want things already set up for them. The only time people will come to me, it's when we have an event. That's when people will say, I can at least stall.
That's all.
Because they're not on the business, right? But they're not looking at the longevity part of things. So, okay, how can I merge my business, the business and have a sustainable relationship going forward?
Look, Tebza, if there's one thing I'd like young people who have entrepreneurship ideas, sitting at home, maybe come across this podcast, is to appreciate the fact that you guys are young people, but the heat in this kitchen will make you realize that money doesn't come easy.
Exactly.
You work hard for everything.
Nothing ever comes
easy. And I'm so proud of you and your team for taking up this difficult task. I know that month end, you guys are not where you want to be. But no, the Lamborghinis. Maybe so big up to you, man, and your team. Hard work, Chana, is that formula. It never fails. No matter what you do, if you put in the work, there will always be a result at the end, exactly like how we sing it here. So from me, I wish you all the best. May God bless you and your business. And it is my wish that tomorrow, even when I'm in Durban, even when I'm in Cape Town, I can just wake up and say, hey, I feel like Woods. Well, I have your number now. I can just text you. Where's your branch? I'm here. You can tell me, okay, go to the nearest place here, That's how much I have faith in you guys. Because I really see a brand that can compete with world-class brands. And for me, you guys, you've got the formula. You've got it right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, sure.
No, most definitely. I could not agree with you more. Look, I mean, you guys, you've brought in humility into your business, and you guys are growing the business as it should. My taking would be that, you know what, start investing in playing in spaces that you want to be in. Right?
That's important.
You've done a lot here.
That's important.
And the business can sustain itself at a certain point. Now invest in playing and networking with the people that play in the spaces that you're in. There's places that the people that you mingled with in terms of starting the business, you saw that formula works. Right? Yeah. Now how about you start networking with people that can scale up your business, that understand how scaling up the business works. Do you understand? So that will make your life way much more easier. Because I mean, this would be your landmark branch, right? But the others, the expansion, the piloting, could be something that you can even do it before you even get to 2 years, with the right set of people that are able to tell you don't need so much money, you don't need to sign up to so much of a lease period. You can tie it in with a container. You can tie it in with whatever, but invest in those kind of places. Start having those kind of conversations. Who would I like to speak? There's a lot of successful other restaurants. Walk down the road, go to Sakumzi and ask him, Chief, I'm doing this. I've got a very nice market of youngsters.
And I'm sure they know you already.
No,
Definitely.
Definitely. So when you move with them, you tell them that you've got a young crowd and they're willing to join me in this journey as I grow. And I know you, Sakumzi, as well, you started the same way. And these people are growing with you. They're 70, 60 now, and they've been there with you. How do you master that formula? Sometimes you just don't have to have the mentorship in paper, right? You just need to have coffee, have tea. Believe you me, the people that you think don't have time, they have time for the right reasons. For the right reasons, you will have time. You understand? But those are the takings that I would like for you to take from this podcast, because we like to see, especially young guys, coming into the space and saying, I can do it. Right?
That's true.
Help me, And the season is not if we see you have feet, you'll move. That is very, very much important. But before we close, I just want to actually tell the guys how do they get in touch with you. Just the business.
Okay, so Woods and Wings is situated Dube, which is 1281 Mncube Drive. And then on all social media platforms, it's at Woods and Wings. And then if you would like to place an order, you can contact us on 063 555 3004. That's 063 555 3004.
That means you guys deliver.
For now, I ready to deliver.
Collection.
It comes back to the thing I was talking about. Like, I can't buy a fleet of bikes. I don't have the money for that. So especially we were not trading. We trade from Monday to Saturday, but for Sundays there's a span. But we're planning on having Sunday Woods Market, which is gonna happen here. Coming back to what you were asking, how are we collaborating with other brands? So I think that space will give other businesses the opportunity to come together and we exchange ideas, because this has become a central location for everyone. It should be used as an institution again to breed more ideas so that we can grow.
You mean no one has approached you for delivery of food?
There is
local young boys with bicycles.
Currently there's one group that we're working with. Okay. There's only one, and then there was Swiper, which and then they had their mismanagement of things, and then they had to close down. But you
don't have something solid.
Yeah, they don't have something solid.
Guys, if you're watching this podcast, please, man, Nick, you know what's my philosophy. If you don't close ranks in your own areas, other people from outside will come in and snoop, take those opportunities away from you guys. So if you're watching this podcast, start thinking about how you can enhance, businesses such as Woods and Wings, and tap into those opportunities. Goodbye.
All right, but first, good night again. Don't forget, guys, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Until next time, Suguma Woods.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not. We value the empathy.